I used to think humans were fragile. Honestly, when I first met my human, I thought he was the weakest being I'd ever seen. His name was Daniel, and even by Terran's standards, he was small. He had pale skin, soft features, and only 2 eyes. No claws, no armor plating, no natural weapons beyond a set of dull teeth. Compared to my species, the Vishari, with our forearms, chitinous hides, and venom glands, he was almost pitiful. But somehow, he was utterly fascinating. He smiled more than any being I'd ever met. He would laugh when things went wrong. He'd apologize even when they didn't, and he always said thank you to machines that couldn't even hear him. It made absolutely no sense to me. So, when he proposed, I have to admit, I said yes out of curiosity just as much as love. See, the Galactic community had only known humans for about a century, and they were still a complete enigma. Friendly one moment, then surprisingly ferocious the next. I wanted to understand why. We served together aboard the exploration vessel, the Schalker S-Dream, charting the unclaimed sectors of the Perseid Expanse. Daniel was our cultural liaison, which basically meant his job was to explain human customs to other species. It seemed like a pretty trivial position, until the day our ship was boarded. We had just entered orbit over an unregistered moon when, suddenly, our sensors failed. The lights flickered and then, without any warning, the entire ship shook violently as something lashed onto our hull. The dreaded realization hit us all at once: pirates. Carthan marauders, to be exact. These 8-limbed raiders are notorious for enslaving crews and harvesting organics for ransom. Or much, much worse. They stormed through the airlocks like a living, chitinous wave, tearing through the decks with plasma cutters. Our captain was shouting orders, but the crew was in a state of sheer panic. I grabbed my carbine and positioned myself by the medbay door, determined to protect the wounded Daniel, who was inside helping triage the injured. He didn't even have a weapon. "Stay back, Daniel," I hissed, my mandibles flaring in warning. He just gave me that same, almost irritating, smile. "You worry too much, love." I shot back. "You can't fight them." He just shrugged. "We'll see." And then the door burst open. 3 marauders thundered in. They were massive, insectoid creatures covered in bone armor, their claws crackling with energy. I fired a volley, but one of them just deflected the shots with a shield plate. The others were closing in on us, fast. Daniel didn't move. He just looked at them, He really looked at them, and something in his expression completely changed. The warmth just vanished from his eyes, replaced by a cold, calculating focus I had never, ever seen before. He reached for a medkit, not for a weapon, just a metal container the size of his chest. As the first marauder lunged, Daniel sidestepped, swung the kit up, and slammed it directly into the creature's throat joint. There was a sickening crack, like splintering glass. The pirate just dropped, twitching, the other to frozen shock. Honestly, so did I. Before they could even recover, Daniel tore open the medkit, grabbed a vial, and hurled it at the next attacker. It shattered against the creature's face, and a caustic antiseptic foam seared right through its eye ridges. The alien screamed, dropping its weapon. Daniel was already moving low, fast, completely controlled. He kicked a fallen carbine towards me. "Aim high," he shouted, then grabbed a surgical blade from the kit and drove it into the marauder's neck joint with terrifying precision. The last pirate tried to flee. Daniel caught its tail limb, yanked it backward, and slammed its head into the bulkhead once, twice until it stopped moving completely. When it was all over, the medbay was silent, except for the sound of my own pulse hammering in my ears. He looked at me, panting slightly. "Everyone okay?" I couldn't speak. My mandibles were trembling. I'd seen soldiers fight before, but never like that. Not with such cold, brutal efficiency. He hadn't wasted a single motion. "Daniel," I finally managed to say. How did you?" He just wiped a smear of alien blood off his cheek. "Marine training. Earth Force, 14th Expeditionary. Didn't I mention?" "No," I stammered. "You did not mention that." He shrugged again. "It never came up. The pirates didn't stop with the medbay. For 2 long hours, they tore through the ship, cutting us off deck by deck. We eventually regrouped in the engineering bay, sealing the blast doors. There were only 30 of us left alive, and Daniel took command, not by rank, but by sheer presence. Even our captain deferred to him. He drew up defense lines on a datapad, routed power to the security systems, and started handing out improvised weapons pipes, wrenches, even sharpened hull panels. When one of the engineers said we'd never be able to hold out, Daniel just smiled that cold smile again. We don't need to. We just need to make them regret coming aboard. He led the next counterattack himself. I watched him move through the smoke and chaos, barking orders, dragging wounded crew members to safety, setting up deadly traps with exposed power couplings. There's a word humans have: tenacity. I never truly understood it until that moment. He fought like someone who simply refused to die, who refused to let anyone else die if he could stop it. The Marauders, who terrified most of the galaxy, began to fear ***. You could see it in how they hesitated at the corners. You could hear them whispering about him through their comms. The small, soft human had become the monster in the dark. When reinforcements finally arrived from the nearest patrol fleet, the pirates were already in full retreat. We had held the ship against all odds with minimal losses. Later, as the crew began repairing the damage, I found Daniel sitting alone in the observation lounge, just staring at the stars. I sat down beside him. "You could have died." He just nodded. "Yeah, you never told me you were a soldier." He gave a faint, tired smile. "Didn't think it mattered? I'm done with fighting." "Yet," I said, "when we were attacked, you didn't hesitate for a second." His eyes softened. "When someone threatens my crew, my family, I don't think. I just act." I looked down at his hands, small, scarred, and trembling ever so slightly. The same hands that had saved all of us. I realized then that his strength wasn't in his muscles, or his weapons, or even his training. It was in his will. Humans, I learned that day, don't need claws or armor. They have something far more dangerous: the refusal to surrender. When everything else breaks, when fear paralyzes even stronger species, humans just keep moving. They adapt, they endure, and if you hurt what they love, they become absolutely unstoppable. The captain recommended Daniel for a commendation from the Galactic Council. He refused it. "I'm not a hero," he said. "Just a husband who got tired of seeing his wife in danger." I still think he's wrong about that, because the next time someone calls humans weak, I'll tell them about the day my fragile, gentle husband stood against an army of pirates and made them run. And if they laugh, I'll just smile and say, "Try boarding a ship with a human on it. You'll see." Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from across the galaxy. We'll see you in the next one.